Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to What's on Our Screen podcast. I'm Elio Ramos, and I'm accompanied by my cousin Javier Rivera.
What is it? Is it good afternoon or good evening now?
Well, it's at any given point, it's
Yeah,
no, you're right. It could be
it's good to be alive day.
it's good to be alive day. Yes, it's always good to be alive day. Um, we're gonna start this podcast off with a couple trailers. Kind of, there's been some really good trailers coming out lately, and so it's been fun just being able to watch them and then later on dissect them. So, but anyway, why don't you start us off, because I default to you when it comes to anything comic book related. With who's that guy? Doctor Strange. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday had a lot of comic book, a couple of comic book, big trailers actually. We got Moon Knight, one little teaser. We got Lord of the Rings, and the big daddy of them all, big spoilery, trailer was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Is this like the second trailer? Almost like it felt like the final trailer usually,
Mm,
but yeah, this
had that feeling.
trailer had everything. Kind of spoiled some appearances in there. So yeah, and we kind of know now who's the villain. You know, based on the trailer. Apparently it's Wanda, and
Oh,
so
okay.
she
Yeah.
she goes batshit crazy, and
Of course, we got that from the
right,
trailer.
yeah,
I had no idea.
it's right there in the trailer.
I had no clue. I mean, I
Yeah,
see her
well,
doing stuff, and it's like she could just be mad for like 12 seconds, be like, "Oh my god," like I broke a nail, kind of thing. I don't
no,
know.
if you read the comics, Wanda doesn't get mad for 12 seconds. But yeah, we got trailer and we got a mysterious voice that some people say it's Patrick Stewart, Dr. Professor X.
Yeah.
How you feeling about that Professor X kind of Easter egg in there?
I think this is the gateway to the X-Men coming officially to the MCU. And finally, we might see Hugh Jackman again. I know he said years ago that he retired and whatnot, but it'd be nice to see Hugh Jackman once more in reprising his role as Wolverine, even though he's like 6 foot, like what, 12 or something like that. Homeboy's tall, and
Yeah,
you're playing a really short character that's like 5'2.5". So kind of broke my heart on that, but I digress. That's
that
opinion.
was not the question.
That was not the question. I know, but I think this is going to be the opening opportunity. The gates, if you will, are finally opening for the X-Men to come into the MCU. I'm excited from that perspective. I think this movie is it reminds me a lot of What If, because What If established a lot of things, and
Yeah.
just to prepare us for what's about to come down the line, down the pipe, if you will.
Mhm.
So I think this is the final execution of that. So that way people are not completely like, oh, what the heck is going on? That's all I've seen all week is nothing but people analyzing and
Yeah,
critiquing all the images and stuff like that.
the poster has a lot of stuff in there.
Mm.
Like, there's even a Deadpool inside the poster of the new poster.
I've See, I haven't
Yeah,
even.
yeah. You just zoom up in one of those breaking, like the poster is like him, like and him kind of crouching, and the background is breaking like a glass, like a mirror, and
Oh,
all those pieces you can see reflected stuff. So, and one of them is like Deadpool with his finger in his mouth, like doing like that, and so there's other characters inside those pieces of glass and stuff like that. So
yes. It seems like it's going to be a wild ride for sure. I'm really excited about all alternate variants. Like everybody's like, oh, it's Tom Cruise going to be Iron Man and everything like that. Or on this case is what, Superior Iron Man or something. I don't know. I could be getting that wrong. Am I wrong on that? It's like Superior.
yeah. Yeah, people think it's Superior
Oh, okay, I got it
Iron
right.
Man, but I can say it's not Superior Iron Man.
But Iron Man is going to be in it, right? A Tom Cruise Iron Man. That's what
Yeah.
everybody's saying.
Well,
That's the rumor.
everybody's saying that, but I don't know yet. So,
And
but
the
I don't know.
Illuminati, right? The Illuminati,
Yeah,
is that the name of
yeah,
them? Yeah.
that's a special group, but I don't think all the members are gonna be there. So they're gonna mix and match the members.
Mm,
So, but yeah, that's a big point in this movie. They're introducing that the Illuminati, they kind of control this group. This Marvel group controls controls the happenings of the world of Earth.
mm-hmm.
In the background. So yeah, if you get into a lot of those, especially the Jonathan Hickman run of Avengers, it has a lot of stuff with them and all the
Mm,
stuff they're doing. So I think they're gonna adapt that storyline, and probably they're gonna do Secret Wars at the end of it.
mm.
So
You
I
think
think
you think
I
we're
think
gonna
it's
get a spin-off or anything like that by like maybe the story of the Illuminati? Get like a complete movie that's dedicated to the Illuminati, all the Illuminati characters, because it's is Doctor Doom in there, right? Doctor Doom,
no, it's
Professor.
Professor Xavier, Black
Hmm.
Bolt, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Panther. Who's the other one? Namor, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Isn't Mr. Fantastic a part of it as well?
And Mr. Fantastic.
Okay. Why did I think Doctor Doom was a part of it?
No, 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 he's not.
Okay. What wasn't there? Was there ever a time that he was a part of it or associated with it or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No.
I must be thinking about something else. But
Yeah. But yeah, that's a group in the comic books, but in the movies, there's still no Mr. Fantastic, or right now we don't know what Black Panther's gonna be. So,
mm,
but anyway, it's a cool concept, and but this Illuminati apparently is in charge of the multiverse. So let's see what happens there.
oh, could okay. I mean, it could be that he got trapped in another like multiverse,
Yeah.
and he's gonna it's like we lost our Doctor Strange or something like that, or why are you
Mhm.
impersonating Doctor Strange? And he's going in front of these people, so it has that element. Not necessarily like they're in control of the multiverse, but they're aware of it, and they're trying to maintain some order into the multiverse and
Yeah,
stuff like
almost
that.
like the Loki
Yeah,
Loki series, the Time Variance Agency.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so it could be like that, but I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but there was something strange in the trailer that it said a film by Sam Raimi. They usually don't use those tags like that.
What? What do you mean? Like, you think
No, no,
he went?
the other trailers never said a film by such and such. I think this is the first time they used that like that. Usually with these old directors, they get their own tag. Like,
Yeah.
but in the trailer, this one says film by Sam Raimi. So I don't know if they're changing something in the. Maybe Sam Raimi has more to do with the film than maybe hands off a little bit. Like maybe Marvel was a little hands off.
I mean, it's possible, but it's probably because everybody's aware of his work and they're using that as a nostalgia factor, I guess, or to hype up the movie as well. Like look who's directing one of our films. Because normally they kind of get these directors and give them a shot. They're not well-known directors. They're people
Oh,
have seen their movies, but they're just like, "Oh, who is that person? Like who's directing that kind of
yeah.
thing?"
They usually take a lot of people from TV and from indie.
Yeah.
I think their well known was like John Favreau
Yeah, but I mean
and
even John Favreau.
the first Captain America director had they had Joe Johnson and
The
um
the first Thor director, he's kind of well known cuz he's always doing like kind of Shakespearean.
Kenneth Braga.
Yeah, he's always doing those type of movies, that style. So that's why up to just recently, the first Thor movie was one of my favorite ones because I love the whole structure of it and how they told it, and just it had that
Yeah,
presence for me. Uh, but yeah, I think that they're trying to go on that nostalgia factor. Like, look who we got. Like
yeah,
he's on board with us, and he made a movie for us.
yeah. Plus, he
So
made Spider-Man, so he
yeah,
has that,
yeah. So
and he's a
that
good
helps.
horror director.
Yeah. So
So,
I think
so you can expect some messed up stuff in this movie.
I'm looking forward to it. I think that there's a lot of different versions, and I'm hoping that the movie is long enough where it gives us all the different multiverses where Doctor Strange dwells and
Yeah.
how he interacts with them and everything. I'm hoping to get really meaty chunks, maybe like 5 minutes, if you will, of like certain scenes with certain characters, certain segments. And I'm curious on how they do that. Maybe they're dream sequences, but they're actually multiverses. You know that he's
No, they're
actually.
multiverse.
But that's
The
what I'm
girl
saying. Like,
the girl he's protecting, America Chavez,
mm-hmm.
she can open doors to multiverses, to different
Oh,
realities.
okay.
That's why they're
That's awesome.
protecting her.
That's so
So
awesome.
that and when you see in that trailer where he's hugging her and crossing and everything is shattering behind them, and
Mm-hmm.
in those shattering you can see like a cartoon universe and dinosaurs in the other part. So he's gonna be traveling with her. So
Man, this movie's gonna be epic, and that's so
yeah.
crazy. This is his second film. I feel like this is like the
Well, more
equivalent to
like
Captain
third
America.
film because
Well,
because
it's the official, you know,
second film,
yeah,
but
second
he
film.
did a lot in Infinity. He
Oh
was
yeah,
one of the main.
yeah, he's all
People
over the
fell in
place.
love. People fell in love with him in Infinity, not in his original movie. That's one of my favorite films, the original Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
But people fell in love because he's one of the most powerful characters. And he went toe to toe with Thanos.
yeah,
Like, so I love that sequence of fight.
yeah. But this kind of reminds me of Captain America. You know, the first Avenger movie was not good at all. I did not like
Yeah,
that movie. I thought it was caca. But then you get the Winter Soldier movie, and you're like, what the
yeah,
heck? You know, he's like, I'm seeing Captain America for the first time, and so it feels like it's that leap. You know, you got the Doctor Strange movie that's establishing things. You get some cool fights, you get some cool sequences with the character and some abilities of the character. But then this movie, you're just like, he's going ham. You know, he's cutting
yeah,
things in half. He's manifesting things. He's going to different
yeah,
dimensions, seeing different versions of himself. It's like, oh, it's so good. It's so good.
yeah,
And they're
yeah,
brilliant too because they do a great job of establishing this character throughout other movies and his
hmm,
personality and how he changes and it's sneaking in tidbits so that way you don't have to do a lot of establishing in his own movie. You don't have to bring us up to speed to where the character's at because we know exactly where he's at, where he's been, what he's doing, and you could just hit the ground running in this movie and you don't have to do any establishing, only solely for things that are pertinent to the movie itself, not to like other peripheral things for us to understand because we know it.
yeah.
And that's the mastery of Kevin Feige and the Marvel universe. That's why I applaud
Yeah,
him.
they feel like more like a series than
Yeah.
movies sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because you're constantly following and learning. That's why these Avengers movies, when they come, when when they make them, they don't have to establish a lot
Yeah.
from the main characters because you already follow them in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So Infinity and Endgame, you can focus on certain stuff like Thanos and other characters. But yeah, I mean, been going strong for almost more than 10 years now. So
Yeah. Yeah. Freaking lifespan. That's why Warner Brothers needs to get their act together with DC movies, and
oh, it's different for them
they need
because
to
they
do that.
Warner Brother does other movies. It's like you know Disney has a lot of stuff under them. So they have Pixar, they have Marvel, they have Star Wars, and they all of them their own production houses. So Warner
Yeah.
Brothers doesn't have that, so they have to like take them out from the underneath Warner and let them do in charge of somebody and let them do whatever the hell they're gonna do.
Yeah. I mean, they, in my opinion, they have a great animation group of people over there at Warner
Yeah,
Brothers Studios because Warner Brother Animation Studios is
yeah, and
fantastic.
they misuse that because they could have been writing and helping with these movies,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie part. This is the thing, the snobbery of different factions
Yeah.
inside movies, entertainment. It's like, oh, if you work on cartoon, you're not, person who works on film looks at him like, "Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he works at cartoons, so doesn't know anything about film."
Yeah.
So that's why you have a lot of stuff.
Unfortunately, yes, it's very true. But if they would get their act together and just hire some of those animation writers, because
Uh-huh.
those freaking DC animation is the best. Until
I would
just
just
recently, you
hire.
couldn't even touch
I would
like
just. I would
Marvel
just
couldn't touch
hire.
it.
I would just hire Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. Um, hey, you guys, give me the plot. Do me the plot for all these characters. Because if anybody understands DC heroes, it's Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. You know, they did Batman the animated series. They've
Okay, there you
written
go.
the Batman. They did Batman Beyond, Justice League Unlimited. So they know these characters.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So just give them to them. They understand it. Don't make it this snobbery of I'm gonna make a film and it's gonna impact everybody.
Yeah,
No, 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 no. Just give me Batman and Superman. Their first appear, the first time they get together. It should not be like, oh, he's God and I'm not God, and no, no, no. It should be more fun than
yeah.
that.
No, straight up. That was some great name dropping because I was just like, mm-hmm, yeah, those guys. I like those guys. Yeah, but no, it's true. They should definitely give it to the people that know. Those who know should do, and
Mhm.
just trust them because otherwise you're just going to be in a situation like what you're in right now with the DC universe is all in shambles. That cinematic universe just has no direction, no guideline. It's just like a bunch of loose chickens, and they're just doing all whatever they want, and it just there's no
Yeah.
cohesion. So that's why I'm never excited when they announce a new DC movie. That's why all those the only one that I'm mildly looking forward to, be honest, I'm excited about. All right, is the that new Batman movie that's about to come out because I think for the first time ever we're gonna get the Batman movie that we deserve, and it's gonna be like this noir detective. It's stuff that you and I have talked about when we
Yeah.
were kids, back in the day. Like this will be a really great, Batman movie, nice and gritty, all detective like, and it feels like he's out there trying to solve a true crime, but yet you're seeing him unravel as a person, and he's dealing with all these inner demons, but yet there's this psychopath out in Gotham, and he has to deal with that too, and it's like his internal convictions are manifesting, in front of him with all these other things, and he has to deal with it and stuff. So I think the movie is going to be spectacular, but I don't think the Aquaman or man that freaking what's
Oh,
that
you
the
like
Black Adam.
Aquaman?
Well,
You
I
like
liked
that?
I liked I liked the first one. I can't say again. I don't trust DC.
It's
I
it's
don't.
the same director. Yeah.
I no, but I get that. But that's what happened when Aquaman first came out. I didn't go to the theaters to go watch it, and as soon as I watched it at home, I was like, oh dang, this was worth watching it in theaters because visually stunning, and I do like the movie a lot, but I had no faith in it, and I've had my heart broken way too many times by DC movies that I just don't trust it. So I'm not willing to go out there and be like, yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic because of the director and all this stuff. It just doesn't matter. Like their stories are not they at first at first signs that they're making a movie, I just don't trust it. So that's my just initial gut instincts. Like, yeah, that's not gonna be good. And I want to
Well,
I want to be
like,
proven wrong. That's the thing. I want to be proven wrong. I want to see these movies and be like, oh, I was totally wrong. Like this is actually pretty good. But I just yeah, Aquaman was one of those rare moments. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should have seen this in theaters because this is a grand scope. This is spectacular. But still, there's problems with the story, of course. Just like the Wonder Woman movies. The second one was atrocious. There's just no story whatsoever. Um, that's an abomination of a movie. Uh, but it's I
I don't
want to
know
be
how they.
proven
I
wrong.
don't know how they shipped that movie out.
Yeah,
Like,
that was that was bad. That was really
yeah,
bad. And like there was a controversy because the director fought for the opening sequence. And this is the one time I'm with Warner Brothers on that decision of cutting it cuz that sequence did nothing for the movie. It slowed the movie down right out the gate. Just it completely put us at a standstill and you're like, "What did this do? This didn't do anything."
I think they felt that the first half didn't have any action, and the beginning of the movie didn't have any action. Only that mall sequence that was really bad. And
Yeah. But the movie just didn't have anything. It just didn't have any. It had no soul. It's just a bunch of pretty. images. Like I get what they were trying to talk about. There was like a theme. Like
The thing is that
trust
they
and
went for
everything. And
a very bombastic, weird storyline with the wishes, and it just got out of control, and it just got worse and worse. And I'm like,
yeah,
this, or they have a very ingenious way to erase all this, or it's just gonna suck, and they're just good. And at the end, it just sucked. It's just her talking,
yeah,
and you're like, okay, wait, why doesn't anybody mention this thing in the other movies? In the future, where they went backwards with the character.
yes, yeah. Way backwards, way, 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 way backwards.
Yeah,
Because after the first movie, they already established all these emotional junctions that she went through, and we saw it. And so by now she should be completely over it. It's been years, and yet you regress the character to this a delicate thing, like she's vulnerable to that. Like, no, you just completely move forward. And by the way, she raped that guy. She raped him.
yeah.
Like, not that he's probably complaining, but she totally raped that guy. And we're all like, oh yeah,
I don't know how they.
she's so
I
powerful,
don't
she's
know.
great.
I don't know why. I don't know how that thing went out, like, for them. Just like, wait, we have a problem here. With this character, with
Yeah,
this sequence. It's like, why is he embodying? It's like they never touched up the. It's like a lot of people did drafts on the script, and they just ran out of time and just cobbled up the script with everything they had, and this little piece wasn't taken out.
they totally missed the mark with that one, man. That movie was
Yeah,
just, I don't, and they got a third movie out of it. I don't know how. They just, okay, great. She has a trilogy on there. She has, but it's just bad, man. It was not even worth it at all. I was just so upset that I sat there and I watched it. And by the way, I didn't watch it in theaters. I watched it on HBO Max.
yeah. I
And
like the first one. The first one was good.
yeah, the first one was really good. It had grit. I had
Yeah,
she was in war, and you saw her learning
and
about
when
the
she
world.
in the action scenes had
Yeah.
meant something.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, she's just flipping things out, and you're
Yeah.
like,
And the
why? Are
CG.
you? Yeah, it was not Snack Snyder's team doing the special effects.
Oh yeah. There
And
was
when you are writing for Gal Gadot, you have to simplify it up because she's not a very good actress. She doesn't have range. Like, she has the same face for super hot walking,
oh yeah.
and the empathy face is the same thing. So you don't know if she's just being a bitch.
You trying to seduce me? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah,
Like, I see a
exactly.
tear, but I don't. I can't tell. I'm just gonna go that you're trying to seduce me, so I'm just gonna get naked.
Yeah, but no, I mean, with the cheetah, when she's like, "Oh, you didn't trust me," but your face is just the same.
That that whole cheetah thing was just, that fight was just so stupid. And she has these wings, and she's flying, and this cheetah's like, what the hell? Like, it served no, and this armor, this legendary armor and stuff like that, just none of it served any purpose.
That was not a legendary armor because it got scratched very fast.
Yeah, it's just like, what is that made out of? Like tinfoil or something like that? What are y'all doing over there? It was
Yeah.
ridiculous, ridiculous, man.
Oh,
Anyways,
anyway,
but
what was the other
let's move
trailer?
on to the other trailer because we went on a tangent there with. But yeah, the Marvel universe is gonna be looking, it's looking strong with this new movie,
Yeah.
this addition to the MCU universe. So looking forward to it. Really excited about it. So the next big trailer that came out was the Lord of the Rings. What is it? Power of the Rings, the new Amazon Prime TV show. So just to give you guys some backstory, this show already is about $1 billion in the hole. Not quite $1 billion, but it's pretty much there. They spent an insane amount of money so that way they can have their own version of Game of Thrones. They've been seeking it for years now. They thought they had it with the Wheel of Time. They most definitely do not. I will say this from the
Well,
trailer. From the trailer, it's visually stunning. The show looks visually stunning. Like they poured money into it to make it look and feel like the Lord of the Rings universe that we've seen up to this point. So they've done a really good job about that. But they're definitely putting in their own flair into it, which that's what's got the whole internet up in arms and rage and in a huge storm and a tiffy about, consistency and authenticity is the word here. Authenticity with what the author wrote. There's a lot of things that have been established long before it was adapted to the cinema and to the big screen, and long before this version was adapted. There's things um, that have been established. And so lately, there's been this trend where screenwriters think that they know best more so than the material, and then they start to take too big of a leap of liberties and they start to alter things that are already established in the lore and quite frankly years of this IP, right? So the biggest issue that I think a lot of people have is there's a lot of gender swapping, where in places that it doesn't exist. There's a lot of race swapping as well. And then there's just the simple thing about, certain groups of individuals, female individuals, having beards when it's well established that they're supposed to have beards and they don't. And so I have an issue with those things because of the simple fact because there's a book there, and you should just go based off of the book. It's like when Peter Jackson, I saw this quote online where Peter Jackson and his team, they were talking about when they were making Lord of the Rings, like, hey, Lord of the Rings is it's not really our property. We're not going to put any of our own opinions or thoughts into it. We're just going to bring to life what Tolkien wrote and bring it to the world as he saw fit, and I think they did an excellent job of that because it's granted it's not a one in one. A lot of Lord of the Rings fans would argue with it, but for the most part it's there. The essence of Lord of the Rings is there. And I think with this show, what they're trying to do is, we feel that this is how Tolkien in this era would tell the story. And that's not fair to the original material. That's
But the problem is there's no original material for what they're adapting.
that is true.
And
There
what
is
they have the
there's
rights, they have
technically is a book that they could go off
no
of.
wait,
It's this
wait.
the Similin the Similon
No,
Similan
they
Similan.
don't have the rights for that book.
It's true, but they can go off of a
They
lot
only
of.
they only have rights for The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and the appendages.
Oh, they
And
have
the
the rights to
appendages,
the Lord of the Rings.
yeah,
I mean to the
yeah,
Hobbit.
yeah. And they have the ring, but they're adapting what they're taking is a couple of the appendages is like 150 pages and like 20 or 40 pages just talk about the past.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking all these different eras where different things happens
Yeah.
because there are humans involved. So elves lives for thousands of years.
Yes.
So your Galandria can appear in the first age, second age, third age,
Yes.
but the humans in between don't. They just disappear. So what they're doing is taking all these conflict that took thousands of years and compacting it to one storyline. But
I
there's
see that.
nothing in that storyline. It just says Galandria was here. There was this battle, this thing. So they're just filling thing out. And they're when you say Peter Jackson said that he filmed it as a doc as if it was a history book,
Mm.
and that world existed, and he just did a documentary. What Amazon is doing and what the writers are doing and saying is this is a lost. They're trying to make a story based on a novel that Tolkien never wrote, so that their approach is totally different.
Yeah.
So they're creating stuff like the video games you like, Shadow of Mordor, the those video games that came out
Mm-hmm.
did the same things.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there, and those games were more offensive than whatever these guys are doing. They made Shelob into a woman with breasts, like big breasts like that. And you're like, that's not, that's not in the books or anywhere, So, but I mean, if you're gonna talk about beards, you should be angry with Aragon then and Peter Jackson because Aragon doesn't have a beard. He can't grow facial hair, so he has a beard.
Mm.
So the beard, maybe Arrogant took it, and that's why the dwarf lady doesn't have a beard. So you see what we're picking and choosing what we get angry over.
No, it's true. It's true. And that leads to this other question is like where does what liberties do people when they purchase the rights? Right? Because that's another debate that I've been internally processing is, when somebody has the rights to something, what's the limitations there? Like what can and can they not do? Because essentially
Well, ask
once you
Stephen
acquire
King then.
well, once you yeah, true, but once you acquire the rights, you're essentially giving this person freedom to do whatever they want, and except for like maybe some limitations, right? Like you write that into the contracts, like you have the rights to utilize the image and the characters and stuff like that, but you can't alter X, Y, and Z, right?
It
Unless
all depends. If you're a big writer and have a big name, maybe you can have one of those contracts. But you and me, we can create a novel, and it's not going to be the same thing. It's like, well,
well, yeah,
here's a
we're
hundred
we're
thousand dollars,
we're talking
and
about like Lord of the Rings, though. You know what I'm saying? Like
oh, the
these big
family,
these
their fat. That's that. This family state just
yeah.
gave them. They said you can't do another Lord of the Rings. You can't do the Hobbit. You can't adapt the Silmarillion. So you can make shit, new stuff
Mm,
in this little period that we're selling. That's what they're doing. They're selling this little blank space in the name of Tolkien, that you can put the name of Tolkien there. But this is just blank paste. You do whatever the hell you want.
yeah.
And they paid $250 million. So I think they can take liberties if they want.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like where does it start, where does it end kind of thing for me. So I think that there's some things that, like, again, like if they have the rights to it, go for it. I understand what you're doing. You paid a lot of money to get the rights and everything like that, but when you're given something, and this, like, from a fan's perspective, right, the other side of that coin is that the when when you're producing something, fans have expectations because they know the material. A lot of them know it better than the people producing it, and so they have certain expectations. And then it just feels like they're creating this alternate reality of what the fans expect or what it really is, and then claiming it as, this is
Well,
the lore. This is canon. Like this is part of the actual thing. When in fact there's a bunch of stuff to the contrary, like that would
well, they
you know
have they hired, I think, a couple of experts on Tolkien, like university level experts.
yeah, but
He's
then
a material, so
later on
they're
they
in the
fired him though. So
yeah. So they bring another one. So
yeah, I'm just saying,
there's
like,
there are a couple of them.
the biggest one, they brought it onto the project. He was in there early, and then I think within a year and a couple months they let him go, and that was the biggest red flag for me. And that was just like, wait a
Oh, they
second,
bring another one.
why would you let him go? Like, I don't doubt that he
Well,
helped him to progress and with the knowledge and stuff like that, but I
well,
can
what is
imagine,
he? What is he an expert in?
well,
All things, all Tolkien.
all
But it
things
doesn't mean he
Tolkien.
is an expert in making a TV show or a movie. That's
Yeah,
where the divide is.
no, I get that, but whenever I
Because
see something like that, it just always tells me
even
like,
the creators,
there's they were
even
clashing
the
in that room.
creators, even the creators of The Expanse,
Hmm.
they were in the writers' room, and there were a couple of times they said, "Oh, we were wrong because we were fighting for something that's in the books, but it just never translates
Yeah,
well into the show." And the people who act experience doing the shows are constantly telling that doesn't work here, that doesn't work here. No, no, it has to be. And you see those clashes and go, okay, there's a difference between writing a book and doing a show.
yes, I wholeheartedly agree
So,
with that. Yes, the translation
so
on a lot
I
of
bet
things.
that at one point they were clashing. Is like, okay, who's the writer or director?
Hmm. Who's show
So,
running this? Like, who's
yeah,
skinning this cat kind of thing? And
yeah,
I get that. I don't doubt that at all. And it's the same sequence or the same instance with the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender and
yeah.
Netflix. They had this prior engagement, this prior contract, or this agreement, I should say. And the creators felt like Netflix broke that because Netflix gave them the boot. It's like, great, I appreciate that you guys created the animated series, but now we're going to take this in a different direction kind of thing. So that's what I saw in there when they gave him the boot. They're like, okay, so they're not going to listen to reason anymore. And granted, we weren't in there. We don't know what's going on. It could have been
No,
both of them. It could have been like, this
it
should
could
be
be
in
the other
there.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but when you bought a blank space with a couple, because what they did is just bought a blank space in the book with a couple of sentences in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Galandria did this, and this guy did this, and this guy did that. They just bought that. The
Yeah.
blank space with a couple of sentences. So for them, it's like, okay, we create all these because they're dealing with characters that are thousand and thousand of years old. So they can fluctuate between them, between whatever, Galandria is angry because her brother died or whatever in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of the story.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, it doesn't go against the Galandria that you see in the Lord of the Rings
Mm-hmm.
because she's a 5,000, 6,000 years old or whatever creature. So she could, you know, it's a long time to be angry,
Yeah.
sad,
But
get wisdom.
that's the
It's
thing.
like,
Like, there's stuff that's established. So for them not to be able to utilize those things that are established, I just that's what baffles me. You're paying all this much. You're paying all this money to utilize these characters in this world and all the things that go with it, but you're only giving this much freedom to do things with these
well,
specific characters like that. That just doesn't make sense
well,
to me because
everybody who was, look, they just bought the checks. It's like when you see the branding. Oh, this is a Tom Clancy, such and such,
yeah,
like a video game or a novel.
hmm
He's dead. He hasn't written anything. He's
yeah,
dead for a couple of years.
yeah,
So whatever you see new from him is not him. It's just people messing in his universe
hmm
and just using the name.
yeah,
So
no,
Amazon just paid to use the name of Tolkien. That's all, and
yeah,
create islands and shit. But one thing they don't want to adapt the Lord of the Rings because there is already a really, really good adaptation that
hmm
the family hates. The Tolkien family hates those movies, and some fans hate it, some fans love it. Well, those films were made for general public. It wasn't made for the fans. The fans have the book. It's major audience
mm,
who is the one who paid and brought those movies up to the whatever levels they went. It's like Marvel. People fight because this character's not. You have the comic. You're a comic book reader. You already have the comic book. This is
mm,
for other people to know the character in a new form and stuff.
yeah,
So there has to be a balance into it. So
yeah. I see both sides of it. I personally have an issue with them altering and changing things that are established. It was the same issue that I had with Dune. I personally have an issue with that. But at the end of the day, what really matters to me, you can change everything into like a donkey talking out of his ass. Like I don't care. Just give me a good story. Give me justification for these characters. Give me reason to love them and to like them, and don't just put things in there just for the sake of putting them in there. It's like, look, we're so
uh, but
woke
the
that we
thing is
got
that,
this character here, or this character here. I
yeah.
don't care about any of that. Be Get the woke award all you want. Just give me a good story, and I think that's what a lot of these big IPs are missing lately. It's just the the most important thing is a story. Give me a good, well structured story with establishing characters, establishing events, and plot points that will force me to follow you all the way down down that rabbit hole to the finish line. Give me that. Let me care about these people, because otherwise you're just doing things just for the sake of, I don't know, gaining some brownie points from other streaming services. Like, that doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't do anything for the fans. So, all right, you did your bit. You have your people in there. Great, whatever. Let's focus on the story. Let's focus on it and justify it. Like, prove these people wrong, that like, hey, yeah, we took these liberties, but check this story out. Look how awesome this is. And
But the
it'll
thing is
it'll
that
shut up a bunch of people.
it hasn't come out yet.
No,
So
no,
you
I get that. I get that. But I'm also, it comes from years of other corporations and other studios just doing the exact same thing and changing and
yeah, but you
altering
can't
just for the
drag
sake
that
of doing that.
attention on them.
No,
It's
you're
like
absolutely right.
that's why when I see these trailers and I see the fan reaction, I don't care about the fan reaction
Mm,
because mostly times they're wrong.
yeah, yeah.
Weren't they angry because Ben Affleck was Batman and broke the internet? And everybody's, oh, this is awful. This is awful. Then a couple years later, they're crying because he's not going to be Batman
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
The Joker, when they said it was Heath Ledger,
Yeah.
everybody crying, oh, that's not my Joker. That's not my. Then they were like, oh, this is the best.
Yeah.
So maybe you should shut the fuck up and just watch it and say, hey, I'll reserve my opinion until the show comes out.
Yeah.
But each time these guys bitch about something, and it's like, you're just bitching because you're bitching. That's it. You haven't watched anything.
Yeah.
You don't know
true.
the origin of this Puerto Rican elf. You don't know if he was conceived as he was conceived as a slave. Elves were a slave or captured, and they conceived with somebody over there in the lands of Mordor or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't know the origin of these characters.
A Taino crossed over.
Yeah. Yeah, because orcs are elves, like just mutated into that, So just I saw the trailer. I liked the visuals because it was a visual trailer. It was not a story trailer. It's just a visual trailer. It just looks great. Like the art direction, like the armors they're doing and stuff like that. I mean, it looks all great.
Yeah.
Story wise, I have to go with what Vanity Fair they saw the first 2 episodes. And they said it was great TV. And she's a good reviewer. Joanna Robinson is a good reviewer. She wrote that. And she saw those 2 episodes. She said, and she's a Tolkien freak. And she's like, there were 2 good episodes. I really like Galandria and her struggles and stuff. Like, cool. You convinced me. I was just waiting. But then he's back. He's blue. Oh no, he has the beard. Oh my god. You're fighting over a beard. Is that the most important thing in a story?
Yeah.
Oh, please, come on.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you.
Get out of here. You're talking about a beard.
I feel you.
People went crazy because women didn't shave their underarm.
Oh yeah, the armpit. Yeah,
the armpit and the soy. I would think it was Sassy Beats. I think it was in Deadpool 2. She didn't shave her armpits, and people went crazy because she didn't shave them. Imagine a woman with a beard now.
Yeah. I guess in the Tolkien universe, it's accepted, and that's why people think that there are no.
He never showed one.
Dwarf women. Not in the movies, but Witcher.
In the book, you don't see them neither. In the book, I read the Lord of the Rings. I don't never. And at one point, you interact with a women dwarf.
Yeah, it's from when Gimli spoke with. They're utilizing that one line where there's. Gimli spoke.
As I said, in the books, Aragorn doesn't have a beard. He's a lampiño. He doesn't grow facial hair. So what? You didn't get angry about that? That beard didn't bother you. It made sense in the movie. You're calling him. He lives in the forest and he's always moving, so he doesn't have a time to shave. So okay, it fits. But now you're fighting because a woman doesn't have a beard. Oh, fuck off.
Well, we'll see at the end of everything and how good the story is.
September 2 can't come fast enough.
What's that?
September 2nd is the day that the series comes out.
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Every time I see the trailer, I like it. I like what I see. So again, my biggest thing is give me a good story. Just give me a good story.
Yeah, that's the only thing that counts. I don't care about beards or black people in there or Puerto Ricans in there. Yeah. One of my boys in there, Puerto Rican.
Taínos went over there to Middle Earth.
Yeah, I don't care.
Epa, tengo un poquito de plátano aquí.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh snap. And you get to stay.
When you see the Lord of the Rings story or message was uniting these people who has differences, different races and different people to unite to fight against this evil. So, and all of a sudden it has to be only white people. How many people have adapted the Lord of the Rings in the world? Africa, Japan, China, like Europe, South America. It's a universal book.
No,
Like people,
I get that.
every RPG that you play is based off stuff they stole from Lord of the Rings. Like, Jesus Christ! Now you're gonna go to Africa and tell these Africans kids, "Oh, you can't do this theater adaptation of the Lord of the Rings. You're not white." So that's what we're going to do now.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, but
But yeah, but it's the same thing.
no,
It's like,
it's
you can't
that's
play it. Like, who are you to tell me I can't play it?
yeah,
Like,
that's different. That's completely different. People adapting it in their own way, in their own facet, and
yeah,
stuff like that. But
the most the
there's
most
already a
ever,
lore, so that's the argument that there's a lore. There's things that are been established over
yeah,
years and stuff like that. And so the main argument is who is Amazon Prime to change
well,
these
it's
things that are
Amazon Prime who wasted
to
$1 billion.
true, true. It doesn't matter.
On
I'm just
that.
saying
Yeah.
from the fans' perspective is like who are they to change these things that are already established? So
Well,
it's
the
like, hey,
family,
do justice and do right by the books that have been established in these lores and things like that. And maybe there's a lot of things in the background that people just don't see and don't understand, and there's probably limitations that nobody knows about. So that's why they're forced to take these liberties. But at the end of the day, it's not about like, oh, this person's white, this person's black, and all that stuff, because I don't think that really matters, because there's other like races inside of Lord of the Rings and that universe and Middle Earth that are in
yeah,
different
there's stuff
sections
that,
that they could
yeah.
utilize. But the argument here is that you're putting characters and race swapping characters and things like that that have already been established that they are a certain way, a certain demographic, a certain skin color and skin tone and all that stuff. And
But let me ask you.
and
Let
there's
me ask
nothing wrong with that. And that's the thing.
you. Does it?
There's
Does
nothing wrong with that.
let me say, if you saw Peter Jackson movie and all the elves were black, would that change the story?
I don't think it would change the story. I mean, it would change the demographic, because that's the issue here, that things have been established. I think the fans would not appreciate
But
it
would it
because
change the message of the story if
I
all
don't think
the
so.
army is just black people or Puerto Ricans or Chinese people?
But see, that's
Like,
the thing, that it's like
would it?
you're adapting a book. And
Yes,
so
but I'm telling you,
that's the argument. Like I don't
yes,
think the argument is so
but
much
I
so
mean
about
the
like
elves that
black or
come,
white or anything. It's the argument
if
is
the
about
elves,
things being established
yeah,
and
okay.
fans enjoying things that were already established. That's all it is. It's not like anybody's being like, "Oh, I don't want to see a black person play this role," because that's not the case. The case is that, hey, this stuff has been established. Even people who are black or and Hispanic and stuff like that have made the same arguments. Like, I don't. It doesn't bother me that that they were all white, because that's what has been established. These books were written at a certain time, and they've been established for this certain period, and that's what it was. And it's not saying that, hey, I don't want to see this black person on the screen portraying a dwarf or portraying an elf and stuff like that. No one is saying that. It's just, well, that's not how the story is. That's not how the everything of that lore of that universe was established. Then that's the problem that they have, is like, you're not.
Fantasy world, Ellie, is not real world.
No, I get that. I get that.
Yeah,
But from the
it's
fans'
like,
perspective, is it's like,
imagine if China
well,
was the one that a Chinese studio bought the rights to Lord of the Ring, and they did it over there.
that's that's fine. Like, that's not the argument. It's almost
It's
like
the argument. It's the argument.
it's like Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, they, instead of making it an Asian character, they made him a white character. It's like, but Shang-Chi is not, he's not, like a Caucasian. He's an Asian person. So why would you,
What?
change him to that? It's the same.
He's an Asian actor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just, why would they change him into like a European, for example, to play that
Okay,
role, and then
because it's called Shang-Chi is not called Roger Smith from England. So
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the whole point is that
yes,
you're you're
the
swapping
other,
him, and that's
yeah, but no,
it's
because
like
you
Black
have
Panther
another
being
guy.
played by a white guy or something. It's like, wait a second, that's not Black
Well,
Panther
because
is
the thing
black.
is, there is already a role for Iron Fist. This comes from the same thing as Shang-Chi. They were created in the same time period.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that's why. Shang-Chi was created in Marvel. It was doing those exploitation years in the 70s. They came out all these kung fu movies and stuff. So they needed a kung fu character and just created Shang-Chi. So,
Okay. But I'm talking about
so
now, but
yeah, but yeah,
changing.
now you,
But
yeah, because
that's just the argument. That's all it
Iron
is.
Fist, they adapted Iron Fist and they didn't change him. Put a white guy in there.
On what?
Iron Fist.
Is he not? Is Iron Fist not? He's
Iron
Asian.
Fist is an American guy who just learned, gets the power of Iron Fist over there in Himalaya or China or somewhere.
Yeah,
And Netflix adapted him, and he was white.
yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is that people just react. People haven't seen the story.
No, I agree.
People didn't see the trailer before all this stuff because they saw photos of it and they
No, I
went
get
back
it.
crazy. Oh my god, a black lady! Oh no, it's the end of the world. And just it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the story.
Yeah,
I
but
could see all Marvel could put everybody black in there or Puerto Rican. It doesn't matter. There has to be a good story in there.
yeah. No, I agree with you in that
How about
perspective.
waiting
But
for the show to come out and judge? Maybe the Black Dwarf chick lady steals the movie. You don't know.
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. For me, it all comes down to the story. But from the fans' perspective, I still see that point where it's you're altering things that have been established, and that's all it
But
is. Like,
they didn't do it in a vacuum, Ellie. The thing is that people don't understand this has a family has the rights to that because it's their inheritance. It's because their granddaddy wrote it,
mm,
and they say who makes and not make it in their
yeah,
own world way. Say, oh, I'm okay with that.
but
They have a say.
that's I
They have
don't,
a say in it.
and that's where I kind of like fall into this gray area of like how much say do the people have once they acquire the rights, because you're once you have the rights, you have the rights, like you can alter, change, and do whatever you want, and
And the contract.
unless of their stipulations into the contract. And so I doubt that you're going to pay $250 million just for the sake of having the rights of this contract, solely to have this family that you just purchased it from tell you yes and no to things. Like, granted, before you acquire it, you'll have those stipulations, but then afterwards, like, hey, no, we have the rights, we paid the money, you're paid for, we're all good.
think
I have free reign. And that's kind of like where I have the
I
gray area
think
at, because
they
essentially
I
once
think
you pay for the rights of something, you do have the rights to do whatever you want with it. And I think that's okay for them. I think it's okay for Amazon to do whatever they want with that product, but I think it's also okay for the fans to voice their opinions and criticize it because it's not accurate to what has been established, the lore that has been established over years. And I think that's the biggest argument there, that hey, Amazon, you guys suck for doing this. It's like, okay, Amazon is like, well, we paid $1 billion to make this stuff, we get to do whatever we want. It's like, all right, well, we're just going
yeah,
to agree to disagree in this situation, but
yeah.
at the end of the day, it's going to
But
come
Eddie,
down to
you
what the
can never
story is.
please you can never please
Yeah,
everybody in the Tolkien world because Peter Jackson tried. He tried.
yeah,
And some of them hate their guts, you
yeah,
know, because he didn't do this and he cut this character out. Oh, you know, all these scenes with Awen and Aragon, they were never in the books. He
mm,
added them. He created new stuff in there. Of course he did.
yeah. And that's, again, he
He
had the
did.
rights and all that stuff to, and the liberty to, to tie
But
things in and everything.
the family wasn't in consent with that.
Yeah,
They voiced it constantly, and fans were angry with it. He
yeah.
didn't care.
I just burped. Excuse me.
At the end of the day, you're the filmmaker. You have to do the film you wanted to do.
Yeah, no, I get that, and that's where I stand with the whole rights thing. Like, I see both sides of it.
Yeah,
I still stand by the, I'm not a big fan of people just altering things and claiming that we feel that this is what the writer would want at this time, because you don't know. That's not fair. It's the same thing with Dune. They're like, oh, we feel that it would have been better for this character to be this way and such because that it's appropriate for this time. It's like, no, that's already been established. You don't get to do that. That's not your place. And I think as a writer, you have a responsibility to the material that you're adapting, not to the story that you want to tell. I think a very talented and brilliant writer would be one that, this is what I have to work with, this is the world I have, how can I make a compelling and original story with this material? Not like, okay, this is the original material and this is the story I want to tell, so I'm just gonna do it like this. I'm gonna tell this story. I was like, but you're this is not yours. It's not by law. It is by law. It is your property at the moment, but it's not your story. You didn't make it. You didn't spend all those
Well,
hours developing it. You know.
they're making it because it's an original. Basically, none of this is in the books,
Uh,
so they're
yes,
creating it.
yes and no, because
They're just using the
the first and
likeness
second,
and names of things,
I understand that, but the first and second year have been established. You know
but that they're not using Similarian. They
and
can't adapt it.
and I understand that, but I'm just saying that from and that's the issue that they're going to run into because the fans have
No,
already
Ellie,
read all
they're
that
just
stuff.
gonna write new stuff.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
like there's a trilogy of books called The Magicians.
mm,
It's like Harry Potter in the university, basically, but sexier and
mm,
adult. The show was like what 6 seasons, I think. The show after the first season just left the books behind and just starting doing new things.
yeah,
It's a book. Sci-fi just bought the rights for it. They half-ass adapted the first one, and it didn't work. There was a faithful, it just didn't work. And they have to create new stuff and blah blah blah. And they got 6 seasons out of it.
yeah,
So I don't see the creator crying about it. He got his check.
yeah.
People bought
It's
people
true.
bought his book. The family is not looking at it, oh, this is a crime because this lady is black or white or what.
Mm,
They're just gonna look at how much books are they gonna sell again about the Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion and all those extra books around it explaining the Lord of the Rings. They're gonna sell a bunch load of books.
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. That statement is
Well,
completely
if
accurate
if a
because
black dwarf, if a lady black dwarf makes a person go buy the books and read it, it's a victory.
I yeah, no, I totally get it. I 100%. It's a business, and I see that point of it 100%. Again, I think from
It's like
the
the
fans
Witcher,
perspective
the
and stuff
Witcher
like that.
author.
Yeah,
The
I,
guy was angry for years because the games were nothing like the novels,
mhm.
and the series is nothing like the novels he wrote. He just got paid and said, "Fuck it, I don't care if the black people there. I don't care. I got the books."
Yeah. No,
So,
I totally get your
do
point
you
there.
hear fans bitching about black people in The Witcher? You know
I don't
why?
know.
You know why? Because they haven't read the books. They only know the video game. Oh, no, they're ignorant. They're just ignorant.
Yeah. No,
And it's
I
just,
see your point. I see what you're saying, but still, nonetheless, I think the fans still have the right to voice their
no, they
opinions
don't.
just as much as
No, they don't.
just as much as
They
the
can shout and
Amazon Amazon
they,
Studios
it's
has the
like,
right to alter things because they pay
you
billions of
can
dollars
look,
for it.
you
But
think that Stan, the guy who did the Stephen King book, who did Space Odyssey.
Stanley Kubrick,
Yeah, you think he cares about fans? He didn't adapt
oh, The
he didn't
Shining,
adapt the Shining to
yeah,
the. You think he care? You think he gives two fucks about what you think about his adaptation, or
like
what Stephen King thinks about that
yeah,
adaptation?
I'm sure he doesn't. I mean, he's
And he
dead.
didn't even. Yeah, he didn't care in the time, and he didn't care what the writer of the Odyssey, Space Odyssey, because it's nothing like the books.
Yeah.
You think he gives two fucks when the author
Well,
was like, "Oh, this is nothing like the books." He's like,
yeah, yeah.
"I don't care what
I,
you think."
again, I'm with you on that, but I still think
No,
that the fans have all right to voice their opinion on any matter that they choose,
they
and
can say they can Ellie, they can give an opinion. It doesn't mean they're right,
well,
and it doesn't mean
true.
they're. It
Just
doesn't
as much
mean
as the adaptation that Amazon does doesn't mean that they're right either. But again,
yeah.
both sides have a right to adapt and do
Well, I
things.
give Amazon a pass because they bought a blank page with a couple.
Yeah,
Well, Peter Jackson bought the rights for the book, so he would have to be faithful to the books. Amazon's not. Amazon is they family said it said you see this between these two sentences is 5,000 years. You do whatever the fuck you want there.
have at it.
Have at it. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. No, I totally get it, man. I totally get it. But at the end of the day, I feel like both sides I hear both sides. I understand both sides. I still stand by what I said. You know how I feel on when it comes to developing things and stuff like that. I think there's some loyalty that you have, some responsibility as a writer. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the story. And if the story is on point, then, you know, it's gonna shut up. It's gonna shut everybody up. So, and that's
So what
that.
happens when do you think people that have been trashing the trailer and the photos, trashing the Puerto Rican actor, trashing the I don't know who's the Black Dwarf, trashing them online, do you think they're gonna say sorry afterwards?
I don't know. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
that's right.
It's up to them to make that
Because the thing
decision.
is that
I
the
mean,
problem with my
it's
fandom is that
both
they
sides
cross
do it.
this.
I mean, they attack the fans right out the gate as well. So it's just,
Yeah, because fans, some, not all of fans. I mean, just some fans cross the line
yeah,
and
just
just
like on
start
both
going
sides.
after,
Yeah,
go after the actor. The Puerto Rican actor doesn't have any fault. He just got a
yeah,
job offer. He
yeah.
said,
No,
"Fuck yeah,
I
I
agree
want to
with
shoot
that.
arrows."
You
So
should not
you
attack the
shouldn't
actor.
or the actors. When you do that, then you're cross. Your opinion just invalidates itself. You're not.
Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't attack the person directly. You should attack the studio for sure, and attack the product that they're making. You know,
You're
the
just gonna
project
attack
and
anybody. Just voice your opinion. That's it, and wait
well,
until
I guess
the
I'm utilizing the attack because that's
yeah,
the word that you were utilizing is attack.
yeah,
But yeah, just voice your opinion, but just don't go after the person like harassing them and stuff like that on their Instagram or their Twitter or whatnot. You know, it's not their fault. They're after a paycheck. They're after to progress their career. You know, the kid who did the last Airbender, you know, he was happy to be there, even though M Night
yeah,
Shyamalan, you know, destroyed that that movie. That movie was
yeah.
awful. It's not the kid's fault, you know. Like he went after it and got it, and you know, bless him that he tried to progress his career, couldn't hack it, you know, and couldn't make it on some other movies, and that was it. You know, I haven't heard from him again. Um, it's the same situation here. These I don't fault any of these actors. You know, it's not them to blame. I think it all stems from, you know, the control there at the management there in Amazon Studios. You know, the writing room, the producers and stuff like that, and the direction. That's the people I would be like,
I mean,
hey, what are y'all doing?
I imagine when you're casting, you just find people that you want to work with.
I don't doubt that, but I also think that when you're casting, you're looking for a specific thing as well.
Yeah,
You know, so
and
it's
maybe they wanted somebody with a good voice because apparently she's singing a lot. The Black Dwarf.
mm,
So maybe they wanted somebody with a soulful voice. You know.
yeah. So, but at the end of the day, it all goes down to is it going to be good? And I don't know. I hope it is.
I
Visually,
hope
visually it looks great, and hopefully it's just like they
they've
knock it out of the
been
park. So,
they've
well,
been like it's so expensive because they've been shooting, reshooting,
yeah,
rewriting, shooting again, rewriting.
yeah,
So it's been a lot of try and error. So
yeah.
I've been working a lot trying to find the tone for that. Remember, when you're creating this, it's like I always tell you that when the Disney got the rights for Star Wars, you just have a blank page
Yeah,
and you're writing Star Wars, new Star Wars. And you when you read the art book, you see a lot of stuff that like they go this direction. They don't no, this isn't work. And it's constantly frustrating because you don't have a guide. And
mm,
I imagine you being a showrunner and they're two young people. They've worked without credit. This is their first credited work.
yeah,
But you imagine just writing, oh, okay, we have to fill this blank page of 1,000 years with new stuff.
yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy. They
No,
didn't go out to make bad show.
nobody does. Yeah,
People
no
and
writer
people
does.
think and people think that oh that's because that's what they want. No, they don't want to destroy. They love Tolkien work, but filling a blank page is very hard when you have a massive fandom worldwide. You know,
Yeah,
so it's very hard. I mean,
no,
you can look at their faces; they have a lot of dark under their eyes. Like they have sleepless nights. So
yeah.
it's not
I
easy.
don't. Yeah,
I don't want that job. That's not a
I
job.
don't take that away from any of them. All the hard work that they've done, I don't take any of that away. It's like the proof is going to be in the pudding, as they say. You
Yeah,
know, once we see that show and once we start getting those episodes out, you know, once we see the first episode, I think we'll have a good sense of what the show's about, where things are gonna head to. But really, I think by the third episode is really when you know for sure the structure of the story, what it is all about. But in the case of the Book of Boba, you couldn't really tell because they had a good direction and then they decided to like poop on all over
Yeah,
that. So, anyways,
foundation, everything they have is they just took the characters, but
yeah,
they created new storylines because Foundation doesn't give you much. It's just a couple
and
a
that's
paragraph or something,
yeah,
and so and I mean, bits. I like the casting. I like the whole casting of the show. I don't have a problem with the casting of Foundation,
yeah,
and they gender swapped and race swapped a lot.
yeah.
And the story of the Emperor is basically new in there. It's just not in the books.
Yeah, I like the Emperor story.
Yes,
I like the direction that they were going in the beginning, but then at the end they just couldn't.
Apple did. Apple promoted the show with trailers, but when you go to Apple TV, the trailers just like pop because they have a Dolby Vision HDR with
Yeah,
home theater, everything. And I wish Amazon did the same thing
yeah, I agree. They need to
because
like completely redesign their UI and everything like that on that app.
when I saw the trailer on the Amazon app, I was let me check how they do it, and man, they didn't do it. They just left it at low HD resolution. Like,
Yeah,
be more.
yeah,
Should give us more.
I agree. I agree. But no, those are really good points. That was a great conversation, Primo. I think that was fantastic, and I
You
think
see that we didn't insult each other.
and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Two different distinct points of views, and we were able to come to the table as peaceful and equal and respectful. So that's the beauty of it. That's how all conversations should be. But let's pivot real quick to another show that we both watched and that just recently finished, which is the Peacemaker. Uh, that was written, and not all of them were directed, but all of them were written by James Gunn. And I just have to say, before I pass the baton over to you on this, because it's comic book related, I think James Gunn, that man's just got some writing chops, man. He's just so good and so talented at creating like the universe where his characters live. It character driven stories. So it's such a breath of fresh air, just to see him in this space. Because Guardians of the Galaxy just has that element, and he's just done such a great job. And I'm just so blown away by his work, as a writer, because he does such a great job of establishing little details, and then you don't see the payoffs until later, but you see a payoff. Man, and each individual episode that he writes, it's just there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and a through line that pushes the story forward. It was such a great show to watch, and him just seeing his writing throughout the show and seeing him adapt his movie formula into a long form story of a TV show was just such a treat. That was great writing. It really was. And for a bunch of shows that are out there right now that are struggling, that have a really great beginning, a decent middle, but then a horrendous ending, it's so good to see a show that was just strong in the beginning, strong in the middle, and then just a strong finish. And so, from a writer's perspective, I really enjoyed that. It was just, man, it was just so great. But Primo, go ahead, take it away. Let me know your thoughts on the Peacemaker.
Well, you were saying that you don't like anything from the DCU.
True. True.
Yeah,
Touche. Touche.
yeah, and I think this is the best thing written and acted in
Yes.
the DCU because it tied into at the end. There's spoilers, right there. There's a cameo at the end,
Yeah. Oh
and
man, you're so right. That's how good it is because I totally blanked that this was the DC universe. You're absolutely right. Yes. Touche, Primo.
for me,
Touche.
this has been tour de force, like in writing characters.
Yeah.
Because the action sequences are cool and stuff, but they're you can. This is a show that you hear people sometimes. I just that you can have two characters talking and and just watch it.
Yeah.
The show doesn't depend on the action and stuff, but he's just made these characters. He was so unlikable in Suicide Squad. I hated him.
Yeah.
And I hate James Gunn because I care now for Peacemaker
Yeah.
because he goes on this incredible journey, and
Yeah.
it is filled with so much hope. Like this character is broken inside, his past, his family, everything, the guilt that he's carrying, and
Hmm.
and John Cena just crushed it, man.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
man, he crushed it, man. It's like I read a comment that said, "I cannot think of anybody else playing Peacemaker."
Yeah.
Right. And for you to care about a character, Peacemaker, that is like the lowest level of popularity, and it's kind of an unknown character in DC.
That's true.
Like, and man, I just love that James Gunn has this ability to capture his characters, capture them the moment when, let's say, when nobody sees you,
Yeah.
you're you.
Vulnerable
Like,
when you're most
yeah,
vulnerable.
most vulnerable alone. He
Yeah.
captured it because he makes you care for these characters.
Yeah.
I remember the first Guardian movie, and I think everybody fell in love with the movie with Star Lord. Is because he's doing this dance on this planet with the beginning,
Yeah.
and he's just dancing to this cool music. Nobody's there, nobody's watching him, and we're
Yeah.
just peeking it to who this character is.
Mm-hmm.
And that is such incredible work and ability to do that,
Mm-hmm.
because in Peacemaker you have one scene where he's alone and he starts crying about the story about his brother,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my god, this guy is broken.
Yeah.
It's like when when left alone and lonely,
Mm-hmm.
he he hasn't healed from his past.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with that character. It's
Yeah,
what
man.
This is one of my favorite shows right now, and I just love it.
Yeah, I agree. I just it was so moving. It was to see this character, like you mentioned, him being vulnerable. That scene where he's dancing and he's getting high and drinking.
Yeah,
And for those of you who haven't seen it, spoiler, he has that butterfly that's there
yeah,
and stuff. And all Eagly's there too, and so he's having a moment with all of them, but he's reminiscing of his past, and you see what he's doing to cope with that past that he has, that actions that he's committed and stuff like that. And to see the character in that light, and again, John Cena, like you said, he just knocked it out of the park, man. I
yeah,
think he did a fantastic job in this role. I loved every moment that he was in it, and I agree, man. James Gunn has an ability to give these unknown characters a big voice and give
yeah,
them a presence and make you feel like they've been a part of this universe forever. And you get a glimpse of the universe from their perspective and how they feel about certain characters like Batman, Superman,
yeah.
Aquaman,
Aquaman.
Flash. And he rewards, like, again, he establishes things in the beginning and then rewards the audience at the end. It has to be the best season finale I've seen in a year or so, man. Because all these other shows, they just fall, for some reason, they just fall on the wayside when it's coming to land. Man, they just can't stick the landing. And James Gunn not only stuck the landing, but he got the gold, man, at 100%. He delivered more. It's like, here's the landing. I completed everything that I've established, but here's a reward to the audience, because why? I love you guys, and that's just how I roll. And he rewarded us, right there at the ending of the show, and it just it brought Peacemaker into a bigger scope, into this bigger universe, but it also brought us to this bigger universe as well. And he
Yeah,
just single handedly brought the DCU and gave it direction, gave it direction, purpose, and a soul. And it's amazing. It was just completely amazing as a show. And they take you on a journey it has a 3-act structure, and that's the thing.
yeah,
Within the series itself, it has a 3-act structure. You could break down like the first 2 or 3 episodes kind of thing as act one, the middle, the next 3 episodes is like the second act. There's a lot of meat, and then like the last 2 episodes, I think that's 8, right? Because there's 8 episodes. I can do
yeah.
math. Or
Yeah,
maybe
8 episodes.
maybe the first act is like the first 2 episodes, and then the third act or the second act is the following episodes, and the last 2 episodes is the third act. But it's so it's so well done, so well established, and I'd love to see James Gunn in this role in more aspects. Granted, he's done a lot of comic book movies, and he's just able to give a soul to a lot of these characters, a human element to a lot of these comic book characters
Yeah.
that haven't had it before, haven't had the opportunity to, or just haven't, you know, they've never been done this way before. And I'm interested to see, I'd be curious to see him do something else outside of the comic books. But right now, in the space of comic book movies and cinematic universes, I think he is the voice for these broken characters and these broken uh I don't know, the universe, the cinematic universes and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Really looking forward to that. And
I hope Marvel doesn't put it, because the second one was not that good, because Marvel and DC just started poking in it, and he couldn't do his, it kind of like feels that there were too many people in the kitchen.
oh yeah, too many hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah. So I hope the third one they just give him like, okay, go do your thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Just give him the guidelines where he has to land and stuff. But
yeah. Yeah, cuz
I
that's going to
hope
be his
I
swan
would
song, you know?
love, yeah, I hope they give him something Star Wars,
That'd be interesting. That'd be really
because Star Wars doesn't understand characters. Because I would give you this show compared to whatever they're doing for Star Wars now,
mm,
and they just depend on the fan service.
yeah.
And this show, they gave you the fan service in the last episode. When the Justice Leagues appear,
Yeah.
uh, and you feel like, huh, I didn't need them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
That's oh man, it's
And I
so
wish
good.
they did that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I don't need Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
I don't need all these fan service things,
Yeah.
and just focus on these characters. And I think he's a brilliant writer.
Yeah.
Man, he's guy's incredible writing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. His writing chops is stellar, and I highly recommend everybody to watch this show, not only for entertainment but just for story structure, to understand story and how to develop story in a long format, storytelling. I highly recommend it. If you're an aspiring artist of any kind, but if you're an aspiring writing artist, then definitely watch the show, study it meticulously, and see how he establishes things throughout. See, and the thing is that he not only does he give the main character a voice, he gives all his participating characters around him a voice and a story arc and something, and you get a sense of who each character is individually,
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of it. This last episode was such a fulfilling and rewarding episode for one of the
I
most
got angry because I
bashed
thought one
characters.
character died. I got angry because I thought one of the characters died.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I was like, no, no, she deserves better. No.
yeah, yeah. No,
Mhm.
it's man, it was so well told, and just utilizing a villain that is, man, it's like an anti-hero kind of villain. It's like a villain that's trying to survive and trying to solve other people's problems when no one asked them to, but
Yeah.
utilizing this creature to unify the team and bring them together. And it's
Yeah,
and
it
it
was sadness there. It was a very sad. It was a very somber moment
yeah,
when he needs to choose,
yeah,
because they're not evil, but their way of life is evil, because they're
yeah,
trying to take your choice away, and
hmm,
they're invading these characters, killing these characters, these humans.
yeah,
It's a way to make so they can survive, and you're like, I thought he was gonna help them,
yeah,
and when he does the choice that he does. I
hmm,
love the human torpedo activate.
yeah. Yeah, and the helmets and the relationship
Yeah.
between him and his father, and how his father was the
Yeah.
one who had all these great gadgets and building all his gadgets, and that's
He's a
what.
genius.
Yeah,
He's a genius, and he's just an evil genius.
yeah,
Like,
an evil genius. Yeah, and so and then you think about Peacemaker. If you study him, you're like, well, he has no business being around his father. Like he wouldn't be around that person, but he's like, I love my father. I,
yeah,
I
it's his
love who he
father.
is. And then on top
He
of
was
that, like
prisoner,
his father is the guy who develops all the things for him. So it's like he always has to go back to him for more than one reason.
but it's the only family he has.
Exactly.
So he kind of felt the burden.
Hmm.
His dad did the worst thing to him. Like, he was awful as a dad.
Yeah.
but he's a prisoner there because it's his only family member.
Yeah, no, it's
And when he has to decide what to do with his dad, you're heartbroken because he feels alone. This is the last tie I have with a family member.
yeah.
I have to do what I have to do, but you know, at, at the end, it was like soul crushing because he felt betrayed by everybody in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Baobeo, the betrayed him, putting that diary in his home,
Yeah,
and he thought that was his best friend, and it was great storytelling. I mean,
yeah. And that's the
and
thing. It's
great acting
Oh
too.
yeah,
Like,
everybody was stellar, man.
yeah,
Everybody just shined. Everybody can stand by themselves. It didn't require like, you know how you have some shows or some movies where like the main character is being carried by these other characters or vice
yeah,
versa, or there's a specific character that is not the main character but he has all the presence and you're like, "Damn it. This guy's." It wasn't the case here. Everybody had a presence. Everybody held their own and held their ground against John Cena's performance, and you would say that maybe John Cena is the weaker one out of all of them as actors, but man, he brought it to the table. John Cena looked like he's been acting for years.
yeah,
Granted, he's been a wrestler and that's theatrics and stuff like that, but there's a difference between being a theatrical actor and being a TV actor. There's different
he had
nuances,
more
there's
emotions
inflections.
than The Rock.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, till this day, Dwayne the Rock Johnson still has issues acting. I still think like he's come
Yeah,
a long way, a
I
long,
think
long
he's
way.
just. I think he's a good substitute for Arnold.
Yeah, yeah. I see.
And
He's
I
our
think he
this
said it.
generation's
He
Arnold
said it.
Schwarzenegger.
He said in an interview. He said, "I'm not going to be Clark Gable acting, but I can be Arnold." It's
Yeah,
like
no.
so, but Cena, man, that was a. I would say that's an Emmy performance.
Yeah, one hundred
Where
percent. He deserves all the accolades. One hundred
uh,
percent. Because he stole the show. He really did.
yeah,
As the character, he brought it to life. Nobody else could be that character, and I think he did a fantastic job with that. And I just applaud him 100% because his performance was great. Each actor just did an outstanding job, and the thing is that it's a story about family. If you break it down, it's a story about a lost boy trying to find a family. It's like the ugly duckling trying to find his family. It's like Lilo and Stitch. Stitch
yeah.
is lost and trying to find a family.
Okay, you lost me there. Like, I never seen that movie, but
Oh, okay. Well, essentially, it's just a lost boy trying to find his family. Trying to
okay.
find a family, and it's his journey of discovery and finding that family, and it's so great because in the movie you have all these different key points. You have after 25 minutes, you have the entrance to the second act because that's when all I think it's the incident moment or whatever it's called, but essentially right there at the problem of the story starts and you take the character on the journey. So you saw all those key moments in there, but it's so great to see the moment where the family unit breaks, and all hell
Uh,
breaks loose because
uh,
a lot of times movies they lose their way in the second act because they can't hit these key points. That it's the formula. You have to hit these key points regardless of what anybody says. There is a formula to writing these movies, and so if you're not hitting these points, you're losing the audience because it's not organically developing. And a lot of people in TV shows they just can't quite hit these marks for us to really feel and justify a certain character's emotional stress and to push people away. But here you see
I think
everything develop and how it flows, and you see how he's getting attached to this new family unit, and then he gets betrayed and you just see his hurt, like his deep internal hurt, and you see him just lash out at them and push them away, and it's just so well executed and so well done and justified. It's so well
mhm.
justified, and you see that in the character, and that's so key for me when you have organic storytelling and organic development of the story throughout. Because even movies don't have it nowadays. Some movies just don't have it. And there's like, oh, this happened, deal with it, because we already shot it. And we can't go back and fix it. It's like, oh, you guys didn't have the chops. You guys didn't have the vision. But James Gunn just has that knack of just being able to have the vision to execute these things and know where everything is going down the line, and just it was really refreshing from that perspective to see that. So,
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna. Yeah, the thing is, he said that I think it's because Warner just gave him, "Hey, do whatever you want."
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember you telling me that. Yeah,
Yeah, and he said, "Okay, 8 episodes I have for this." It's not the same when the studio said, "Hey, we need 13 episodes," and you have to
exactly.
come up and
Yeah,
stretch everything out.
you're right. That's a really strong point you make, and that is true. That is true. Like sometimes these studios they have like we have a quota to hit and a time frame, and we want this show to be on for X amount of time, and so you have to hit it. So like write a story for 13 episodes, and I'm with you. I think now shorter is better. I think if a season is 6 to 8 episodes, then by God, please do that. But let those be 6 strong or 8 strong episodes, like this one. But if it's 13, like okay, there was a time when we had 24 and we went down to 13 and we saw that the story structure and storytelling got better. But then now we see it as some of these stories get stretched to reach the 13 episode mark because they're forced to do it, but they don't have 13 episodes to say, because storytelling has evolved. Things are information is being fed quicker because technology keeps advancing. So story plots and story points keep changing because now you have a cell phone. It's like, oh, why didn't he use his cell phone? And there's so many instances where writers have to create a situation for the cell phone not to work. Oh, my battery's dead. Oh, it fell down. Oh, I crushed it. Oh, this thing happened. They always get rid of the cell phone because the audience is going to be like, why didn't they call 911 or why didn't they
Yeah,
call their friend? So the writer has to create different scenarios, but then also the information needs to get processed faster because the audience is getting they're getting more advanced with technology and understanding story structure because it's constantly being thrown at their face, but they don't have the attention span to see like things develop. So you have to feed them information on a regular basis so that way they can, because people are smarter now. They can connect dots easier now. Back then, the audiences, you go to the movie, you escape, and you get a slow burn of a movie. Now you can't. Not even with shows. You need give me the next thing. Give me the next thing. Give me
yeah,
more information. And so that's really hard for a lot of these writers to do. And they're kind of pigeonholed to these parameters with original TV storytelling. But the fortunate thing here with James Gunn is that he got that latitude, to do whatever he wanted, in the space that he wanted.
I
And
think the only note he got was that line about Batman. That was the only note he got.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's awesome. And see, that's a great perspective. That teaches you when you let those who know do, you're gonna get great results. But when
yeah,
you try to force people that know what they're doing and you try to force them to go and do something else, it's just
yeah.
like you're
I
not gonna
think.
get good results.
Well, it's got a second season now, so
Oh
I
yeah,
think
it's exciting.
Warner Brothers trying to bring him to stay over here, the Warner side,
Yeah, I mean, good luck
and
with that.
I would love him to stay there because
Yeah,
there's such. I would love them to give him a bigger film, like not Suicide Squad, but something else like that he can put his hands, do something there, So
yeah,
let's see
yeah.
what he does in the
Yeah,
second season.
straight up, because I'd love to see another Suicide Squad movie, play out. Um, if he has another one in him, but I'd love to see him tackle other characters too. So,
I want to see what he does with Ratcatcher because that's one of my favorite characters in the Suicide
oh, is
Squad.
it that rat that survived at the end of the
The,
movie?
the girl with the rat.
Oh, the rat catcher. Okay, I'm thinking about the weasel. I'm thinking about the weasel.
No, no, no. But that character, I really loved her
Yeah,
in Suicide Squad, and I think I think the actress was phenomenal in the story. She was
yeah,
like the heart of the group,
yeah,
and her and King Shark should be a duo.
yeah. That would be great. Just
Yeah,
like maybe even a short of them two, or just like
yeah,
a limited series of them two. Like days after, or the aftermath, or something like that
yeah.
of what they dealt with and where they went, and yeah, that would be great. That would totally be great. But Primo, so what do you have coming up? I think we
Well, I'm currently watching. We didn't talk about it. I'm waiting for you to finish, but or start. Is What We Do in the Shadows
oh
season
yeah,
3?
yeah, I gotta start that. I gotta start
Yeah, I started.
that.
first 3 episodes. So there, and I think I'm gonna watch some documentaries on Netflix.
Mm,
Some stuff there that I saw that I want to watch. So,
okay. Okay.
and I'm getting the itch to watch an anime. I have to catch up on the last season of My Hero Academia.
Yeah, same here. I need to do that.
So I might search if there's already a. I know I'm offending a lot of people now. I do not like the, I like dubbed, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to read,
Yeah.
I don't
I'm with you, Primo.
subtitles for, if you're gonna binge watch like My Hero Academia, all the third, whatever season is,
Yeah.
you have to read all of it. Nah, I just wanna English
I'm
or
with you.
Spanish.
100% with you, man. Like the days of me sitting here and reading the text and stuff like that are gone. Cuz I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. I used to, and that's before Funimation had the app and stuff like that. I
And
would
I
go
started
through the
watching
internet.
that. If you're watching the episodes weekly, okay. But I didn't watch it weekly.
Yeah.
I said I don't have time for this now.
Yeah.
So I'm
I'm with you,
gonna,
man. Give it to me, dub. I don't want to.
yeah, I want to start the Demon Slayer too, but it hasn't dropped out. Dub one,
Yeah.
the dub edition hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm with you there too. So, all right, that's good. I'm excited about the whole anime thing. Yeah, because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
there's some good ones out there, some really good ones out there. Goblin Slayer is a really good one. If you get a chance, there's 2 seasons out and it's dubbed.
I
So
need to catch up on a couple ones that I watched, like my Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, and Fire Force. I haven't catch up on that one.
yeah, I haven't finished Fire Force yet, but yeah, I need to catch up on Fire Force and Black Clover because every time I catch up to Black Clover, there's like the next two
What's Black
episodes
Clover?
are Black Clover is I think Naruto meets medieval times and magic and stuff like that instead of like ninjutsus. You have magic, and everybody at a certain age, everybody gets like a book, and that book becomes your personal, your magical scroll essentially, and it
Okay,
dictates what type of magical powers you have. And so there's this legend of like the first wizard king who defeated like the demon lord, and his magical ability was like the wind. And so um Asta, I believe is the main character's name. He was born without magical abilities, but his best friend, and also like he was raised in an orphanage. His best friend was born with magic, and he has the magical wind powers. And so it's the story of Asta trying to become the next wizard king. And in his journey from going to becoming, like, he doesn't have any magic, but he ends up finding a book that allows him to bring out swords and stuff like that disrupt magic. So when everybody else is attacking him with magic, he's actually disrupting their magic with his magical disrupting swords and stuff like that. And it's very Naruto esque, but the story development is great. But granted, just in the same vein of old school anime storytelling, they drop like fillers for no reason, and they take you for one season. They take you on this radical route that serves no purpose, that was never established, and they do this on animes, and that's what I can't stand sometimes. They start establishing important information in the middle of a well-established storyline for the sake of this one instance that they need to, because they're introducing a character now in the present, so they need to like backtrack. It's like, oh crap, we got to do all this and then bring it back, and it's really annoying, really annoying. But it's an actual it's an actually good anime. It's endearing because once it gets going and the story starts developing, you see how much this character is struggling, and it's like he does like physical push-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that. Like, he's physically strong, and and so everybody else is strong because they have magic, but he's just physically strong, and he has this ability to go up toe to toe with these like high-end wizards and stuff like that. But he works harder. He wants it more than anybody else. While everybody else has been gifted the ability of magic, this character has to work hard to maintain his status as, as a wizard. character, whatever, magic wielding character, non-magic wielding character. Anyways, he has to fight hard. So that's from that perspective, I enjoy it. But
We should do a special "What's on Our Screen" podcast, top 10 list of
oh
anime.
yeah, no, we'll totally do that. We'll totally do that. But for me, what I plan to watch is I plan to finish Vox Machina, which is I think it's done now. I think the first season is done, so I plan to watch that, and then I plan to watch King's Man, which came out to Hulu. So I plan to watch that. I'm really looking forward to that. It's probably one of the most anticipated movies for me because I love the concept of Kingsman in the first one. Kingsman 2 was just dumb. It was not a good movie at all. It's just
Apparently, this one is good.
yeah, no, it looks good. It looks like they went back to the structure, to the formula, and it just looks so good. The trailer looks fantastic. As soon as I saw like the first teaser trailer, I'm like, this is it.
I think the only criticism was that it's a little bit too long, but apparently the some of the new characters really shine. Rasputin and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I've been trying to watch it too. I didn't know it was on Hulu.
Yeah, it came out on
And
Hulu.
new Guillermo del Toro movie there too on the HBO.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna watch that. Like, there's it's that movie's kind of complicated for me. Like, even in the trailer, like I quite don't understand it. So I might give that a shot. But there is a documentary on Netflix about Kanye West that is it's like some guy's been following him. A friend of his has been following him for like 20 years, doing a documentary on him, and now I think he put it all together in 7.5 hours or 7.4 hours of footage, and Netflix is now gonna like feed it out to us little by little.
Yeah, that's
So
one I
it's
don't care.
it's good. I already watched the first act. Like the first episode was really good. The
It's
second one
like
comes
that.
out next Friday, I think, something
I
like
think
that.
it's like that. It's not the same, but I mean, it's like the Beatles documentary that came out.
I still haven't.
No,
A
I
Long
was.
Day's
It's
Night
not a
or
doc.
something.
Yeah, it's on Disney. I saw the first episode. If it
Yeah.
was one episode, it's for the most hardcore Beatles.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the first episode, but I didn't want to continue. I got bored with it
Yeah.
because it's a fascinating thing watching these genius create music out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just the camera there. There's no narration or anything. It's
Yeah.
just them there, just talking, having fun, and creating music. And it's a weird place because they haven't been playing together for a long time, so they come back together and do this thing.
Yeah.
And so it's really for creators and stuff. Is really fascinating to watch these people, but it's almost all the episodes is it's like that. So
Yeah.
I only watched the first one. I got the beats of it, and
Yeah. I agree. I think it takes it's really catered to the fandom and people who are nostalgic in that facet, and also people who are seeking, just to get a glimpse behind the creative mind and everything like that. That's why I like the Kanye West story, because it's really interesting to see where he started from, what he was saying back then, how he was approaching his career and things, to who he is now. And I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities too. So I'm curious from that perspective. So I'm hoping that I think the next episode drops on the 23rd. So I don't know. I think that's next Friday. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Those are the two things that the main things is Kingsman and Vox Machina. Those are the two main things that I'm really looking forward to watching this upcoming week. So, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for us today. That's gonna wrap up the show. That's gonna be the show for this Friday. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed doing it, because it's a lot of fun discussing a bunch of different shows. But let us know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Down in the comments down below. In the comments down below, let us know what you think, or sending us a message. We really love to hear your thoughts on all and any of these topics, and also let us know what you guys are watching. What's on your screen? So let us know. And yeah, Primo, any last words? Any final words? Final thoughts?
well, you can find me in Cronica. The Comics is a Spanish comic book site, and Sundays we do our live shows, and that's about it for now. And Primo, what's your schedule for this week? For this coming week?
Um, so I
You're
stream
doing Halo. You're doing
doing
Halo.
Halo, streaming Halo on Tuesday and Thursday, trying to finish it. Hopefully I can finish it on Tuesday, but if I don't, I'll finish it on Thursday for sure because Halo's been it's been taking up a lot of my time. But there's this new game coming out. Pretty it's called help me out with the name. Is it Ring?
Barbie Paris.
Oh yes,
Barbie
the
plays a.
Barbie's Maze of Fun and it's
You wish it was that, but no.
it's it's
I'm gonna make him play Elden Ring and stream
Elden
it.
Ring. There it is. Yeah.
It's his first Dark Souls type game.
Yeah. I am not
So,
I'm not great at those.
so if you want to see him frustrated, flustered, and angry all at the same time and screaming, "This is broken," come Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be in the stream too, just
Yeah.
messing with him.
Yeah.
Tell him to sidestep, sidestep, sidestep.
But yeah, that's the schedule for this upcoming week and would love to see you guys there. So come hang out. It should be a blast. So, but once again, from all of us to you, much love. God bless. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.